In today's video, we're going to talk about the top 4 things that I want you to keep in mind when starting your real estate investing business. Coming up. Hey everybody, it's Jamel Gibbs. Listen, welcome to another video training. On today's video, I want to share with you what I believe are the top 4 things you need to know when it comes to starting your real estate investing business. Now, the first thing that I really want you to keep in mind is getting set up. This is the foundation of your real estate investing business. I have videos on how to set up your business as far as entities are concerned. In fact, we just did one not so long ago, and I'll link it up at the top for you. But personally, I operate my business as an LLC. Now, there's some differentiating statements out there from accountants and attorneys that may differ in regards to how you should operate your business. So as always, I'm going to tell you to go ahead and talk to your accountant or your attorney in order to get the proper information on how you should set up your business, because maybe a C Corp will work out better for you. Maybe an LLC will work for you. We just have to find out from your accountant or your attorney. But again, set up your business the right way. This is the foundation of starting your real estate investing business. The next thing you want to keep in mind is to set up your automation and your marketing. Now, the automation and processes part is going to play a major role in your real estate investing business. Why is that the case? It's because as a new real estate investor, you're not going to have a ton of employees that are going to take care of different aspects of your business. And even if you did, automating certain aspects of your business will allow you to really scale a lot quicker. So you really want to take into consideration automating your business. Now, what does automation entail? It can be using software like my Investor Deal Pro software in order to be able to take your business from where you are and being able to help you. It's not going to do everything for you, but it's going to be able to help you with the mundane things that are involved and the everyday tasks that are involved in staying organized in your real estate investing business. So you can automate through your lead capture websites, through follow-up sequences like text messaging and marketing your real estate investing business. These are different things that you want to definitely set in place and automate so that you can set it and forget it. Leave that stuff alone and not have to worry about it anymore. Your automation will act as a bunch of employees for you while you're just getting started in your business. Now, granted, eventually you will have to hire virtual assistants and even local assistants in order to be able to help you operate the business in its entirety so that you can free up your own personal time and stop wearing so many hats as a business owner. But for the most part, this automation will be a key factor in getting that process started. And this is going to play a major role even when you have virtual assistants and local employees working for you. Automating your real estate business is really going to help you grow relatively quickly as a real estate investor. Now, when it comes to automating, like I said, as far as getting set up, you want to have your business in place. You want to have your entity in place. You want to have your automation in place. And the reason why you want to have your automation in place relatively early is because you're going to drive traffic through marketing for motivated seller leads. This is huge. If your automation or your systems and processes aren't in place early enough and you start driving traffic, then what's going to happen is all of this, your entire business, your entire front end of your funnel is going to be out of whack. Ask me how I know. So one of the most important things, I'm going to stress this once again, set up your business and set up your systems and processes through automation in order to be able to drive the traffic. You're going to be able to handle the traffic that you need in order to be able to move on to the next step. Now, when it comes to marketing and automation, I tell my students this all the time. There's 2 things that you want to keep in mind, actually. When it comes to marketing, you're going to either invest one of 2 things. It's going to be either time or money. All right. If you have more time and less money, then you're going to spend that time on getting seller leads. If you have more money, then you can shortcut the time. You can take a shortcut to get to the deals. But either way, you're gonna sacrifice something. It's gonna be time or money. Like I said, if you have less money, you're gonna invest the time. What's involved in time consuming marketing? You have door knocking, you have driving for dollars, you have cold calling, things like that, where you're gonna implement into your business in order to find motivated sellers. In order to speed up the process, you can have money spent. You can spend money sending out direct mail. You can spend money doing ringless voicemail and text messaging and things like that. All of this stuff costs money. But if you don't have the money, you're gonna have to invest the time. But the trick to the entire process, no matter what you decide to do, you wanna make sure that you're consistent in whatever it is that you're capable of doing at this time. Be consistent. I can't stress that enough. You can't send out, for example, if you decide to do direct mail, you can't send out a direct mail campaign one time and expect to get a flood of deals coming in. Yeah, you're gonna get some leads, but it really all depends on how much your budget is, how much you can actually spend or invest into your marketing in order to get enough leads, in order to be able to get enough offers, in order to get enough deals. Think long term as a real estate investor. I'm talking about building a relationship with people over time. You're not going to get someone, you may not get a deal for the first 3 to 4 months, right? But if you're consistent and you have the mentality that you're building a relationship with someone who doesn't know you through direct mail, text messaging, ringless voicemail, emails, and phone calls, and any other type of marketing campaign, if you have the mentality that you're building a relationship with this person over time, and you're consistent with being in front of them, if you're consistent with marketing, with your marketing efforts, then you're going to be very successful as a real estate investor. So again, set up your business, set the foundation for your business so that you can be consistent with the influx of leads that's going to come in through your marketing efforts. The third thing that I want you to keep in mind, tip number 3, is to screen every single lead that comes in. I can't tell you how many times people come to me and they say, hey, this particular deal, I didn't see enough of a spread in it, so I decided not to call a seller. Absolute mistake, and that's definitely a newbie mistake. All right, experienced real estate investors are gonna call every single lead that comes in. Why is that the case? The reason why experienced real estate investors like myself will call every single lead that comes in is, well, it's really a twofold reason. Number one, I'm spending money and effort or time to have those leads come in. Number two, you can't tell just by looking at information if a seller is going to take an offer or not. So I've had people in the past, let me give you an example. I bought a house, right? Not so long ago, where the seller was asking, the house was worth $160,000. The seller was literally asking for $150,000 for that house. He proceeds to tell me that the house had some fire damage. So he was asking close to market value for a house that needed a ton of work. We ended up putting about $30,000 into the house as a rehab project. This was a couple of years ago, right? The reason I'm bringing up that story is because had I not called that seller back and I would have looked at the numbers and said, this seller is out of his mind. He's asking for $150,000. The house is only worth $160,000 and it needs a ton of work. I would have never gotten a deal done. I ended up making $35,000 on that house. How did I do that? I was able to negotiate with the seller to get him down to a realistic price of $80,000 with $1 down. Literally $1 down on the house. And we ended up purchasing that property from the seller for $80,000. We put $30,000 into it, and I made a dollar for dollar turnaround and made a $35,000 profit on that house. But it wouldn't have happened had I assumed that the seller was asking too much money, or I assumed the seller's motivation on the property. So the moral of the story is call every single seller back. Don't assume that the seller is not going to take your offer, your lowball offer, if you're lowballing your offers, And don't assume that you know what's in the seller's head. The seller, if, for example, I do a lot of wholesaling and I do a lot of creative real estate deals. If the seller didn't want to take my lower offer because of the amount of work that the property needed, I could have offered some type of creative solution for him, maybe a wrap, or maybe owner financing, or maybe even a lease purchase, and I'll put all the money into the property while the property stays in the seller's name, right? So worst case scenario, the seller gets a renovated property, but they're buying it on my terms. If I don't pay the seller back, they have a renovated house, all right? So I can create different creative solutions for the seller and make it enticing for them to be willing to take my offers. So again, don't ever assume that you know what's on a seller's mind. Don't ever assume that you think you know what a seller is going to take, because at the end of the day, everybody's circumstances are different and everybody's at a different point in their life. And it's up to you as a marketer to be in front of the motivated seller at the right time. The only way to do that is to continually market to them. Be in their face all the time. You want to be there at the right time when it's time for them to think about selling their properties. And the final thing that I want you to keep in mind is always make offers on every single lead that you get. Far too many times I have investors who come to me and they'll say, hey, I didn't make an offer because I didn't think the numbers fit the criteria. My rebuttal to that is always make an offer on every single lead that you get. Again, 2 reasons. You're paying for the leads. You took the time to screen the leads, and I'm yelling at you right now because I get frustrated when people tell me I didn't make an offer. Contact the leads, screen the leads, and make an offer on every single lead. You are paying for these leads, even if it's not of monetary value, even if you're not spending money, you're spending time. You're qualifying these leads. That takes time, right? Make an offer on every single lead. Again, do not assume that you know what the seller is going to say. I want you to make an offer on every single property, every single lead that you get. And in addition to that, do not be afraid to make mistakes. You got to fail forward in order to be able to get to where you want to go in this business. So let's recap this. I want you to get set up, okay? Set up your business, set up your automation so that you can drive leads into your business. I want you to be consistent. Understand it's going to take time or money in order to get what you want out of this business, but you got to be consistent. I want you to screen every lead. Don't assume that you know what the seller is going to say, because guys like me who are experienced in this business will come around and take that deal right from underneath you. All right. And I want you to make offers, because I don't want you to assume that you know what the seller is going to say all the time. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. You got to fail forward in order to get to where you want to go. This is Jamel Gibbs. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.